not be working like this. I work my ass off and I can't even fucking pay bills, bro.
It makes sense to speak a little more directly than usual. There are seasons where life, it just feels tighter, and I think we are in one of those right now.
This is not going to fix itself by fall. There's no way.
I tell you, I've got some really good videos lined up for you. This is not your normal reaction channel. We're building a story here, and I've got a bonus of 10 things that you can do at the end of the video here. 10 things. 10 things that are going to help you, because in 2 years from now, you think things are rough now, it's getting worse. It's going to be getting much worse. If you look at historic background of what happens, and when the recession, the true recession, I know you watch social media and you've been hearing that, oh, the recession's here. You have no idea what a real recession is. And it's coming. So make sure you stick around, and we'll go over those 10 items at the end here. Some of them you might have heard before, but I am here to tell you, you need to listen this time. It is just that serious. So let's get rolling here with the first one.
President Donald Trump has rejected another proposal from Iran because there was no guarantee the country would give up its nuclear program. And things are heating up in and around the Strait of Hormuz. In the past 48 hours, an Indian flagged ship was sunk off the coast of Oman. Another vessel was seized off the UAE coast and taken to Iran. And the U.S. Navy remains on high alert as tensions continue to escalate. It comes as Iran is grappling with overflowing oil supply as the U.S. tightens its blockade.
There's no activity there. They're having to ration electricity. And we're even seeing these weird oil slicks in the Gulf as if they're dumping oil.
Meanwhile, officials in the UAE have announced they're building a second oil pipeline to bypass the Strait of Hormuz. After 2.5 months of war with Iran and the closure of the Strait of Hormuz, oil prices and tight supplies are about to get even worse. Fox 26 business reporter Tom Ziska says energy experts believe global inventories that have helped cushion the pain are close to critical levels. Tom.
Caroline, the basic math looks like this, sounds like this. The world consumes about 100 million barrels of oil every single day, while the war has blocked about 14 million barrels of oil and refined products from getting to the market every single day. The difference between those two has been made up in excess inventory in the form of strategic oil reserves and private storage in tanks and ships that are now being emptied bit by bit. Domestically, we've got about 216 million barrels of gasoline available to us. That seems like a lot, but 190 million barrels is considered critical. After Hurricane Ike back in 2008 here in the southeast and the Gulf area, storm damage pushed us below 180 million barrels. It caused widespread shortages.
Yeah, so a couple words on that, all right? Now, obviously this is, what I feel. And I'm willing to bet the majority of you feel the same exact way. We didn't need to be in this war. We didn't, okay? We've been being told since 1980s that Iran is on the cusp of having nuclear weapons, nuclear bombs, missiles, and the data never supports it. They were nowhere near having anything capable of launching anything nuclear, okay? If we are such a big superpower, the United States runs around and Donald Trump runs around and he's bragging about how the United States military is the best in the world. We didn't need to go in there. All we do is just watch from satellites. I mean, we were just there and supposedly put them out of business. All their nuclear facilities were underground and were all blown to smithereens. But now we rolled on down there and basically F the whole world. You know, I came up, I don't know if it's a joke or analogy or whatever, but President Biden and his merry band of corrupt, fraudulent representatives messed up America to the best of their ability. Donald Trump gets in and says, "Hold my beer while I devastate the entire world." Let's move on to the next one. Getting way too emotional here. Ugh.
I believe all that's happened the last 75 days is every producer out there has dumped and used and has put into the marketplace soft barrels. They took 1.5 to 2 billion barrels of oil that were in storage facilities, pipelines, terminals, fuel tanks, etc., waterborne vessels, and they moved that into the market with hopes that they could satisfy the normal demand day-to-day of crude oil around the globe. Hypothetically, if we're making 101 million barrels of oil a day and we're consuming 101 million barrels of oil a day, we're kind of at a static point. Supply and demand are equal. What we've seen is a disparity because of the global disruption due to the Iranian war and the shutting down of the Strait of Hormuz. We've seen 12 to 13, 14 million barrels a day that has been absent in the normal supply. So call that a 11 to 12% decrease in available supply based on normal demand. Only two ways to satisfy that: lower demand, which is slowly happening in a very small scale, or add additional supply temporarily into the market to appease that supply-demand curve. These soft barrels have already been used. So as I've been saying since this war broke out, if they, being those that are the powers to be, do not resolve the flow of oil coming out of the Middle East and open up the Strait of Hormuz, we're going to only have so many soft barrels we can put in the market. Those soft barrels, in my opinion, are done. We might have an extra 100 to 300 million barrels of oil that are still being put into the marketplace from G7 or the U.S. Strategic Petroleum Reserves, but that is going to be very quickly absorbed into the marketplace. I think starting in the month of latter part of May, first part of June, throughout the summer, the markets are really going to see this absence of soft barrels of oil. And if that strait is not opened up immediately or in the very near future, you're going to see a resolving price for crude oil. It's going to be much, much higher than anyone has predicted because you're going to have buyers and refineries and countries and consumers that have to have that crude oil.
Okay, so what we are seeing right here in the United States is the price is spiraling up and up and up. All the ships that were at sea, everything that was in the pipeline, everything that was being processed is what we are seeing right now at the old convenience store, gas station, whatever you want to call it, okay? Now, when we run out of that, we're going to be subject to market, okay? Market. Now, you'll see everybody on YouTube going, well, you know, crude, Brent, sweet crude, commodity market, ranging between $97 to $110 per barrel on the spot commodity market, okay? That isn't what people pay. That isn't what countries pay. That isn't what buyers pay for the fuel, okay? Meaning the raw crude. On the average, right now, as we speak, if you want to buy a tanker full of crude for processing, you're paying $130 to $150 a barrel, plus shipping, and then it's going to have to be processed, which that's not free. Then you have everything else that gets added into just gasoline itself. alcohol, butane, stuff like that, chemical derivatives, chemicals, all that stuff is gone up in price. We go over July into August, and this right here isn't handled due to nothing more than a fucking lie, period, about nuclear weapons. This has more to do with the petrodollar, because what Iran was doing, which was selling the majority of its oil to China and Asia, and they were buying it and selling it in Chinese money, the yen. Well, once you start losing the petrodollar and it gets out of control and everybody starts buying it based on their currency, America's bankrupt. I mean, we are bankrupt at the moment, okay? But fact of the matter is that we cease to exist as a monetary supplement, and I'm saying supplement because that's where we're headed. And we have no more purchasing power. The dollar becomes worthless. You can't even print your way out of it. The more you print, the worse you make it. That's another reason why we're in this situation here, because of bad government representatives making piss poor decisions while doing their illegal stock trading and getting rich. This next one here is going to help bring it home, and then we'll move on to the next point that I want to make.
The global economy has a shortage of oil, and it's currently surviving by consuming its buffers of oil. We've been quietly burning through emergency oil reserves at the fastest pace in a decade. And if the Strait of Hormuz stays closed through summer, we will move from an oil shock to an actual fuel shortage, at least in refined products like jet fuel and diesel. The Strait of Hormuz affects up to 20% of global oil trade, and nothing hardly is getting through. IE Chief Fatih Birol says we are facing the biggest energy security threat in history, and last week saw a record-breaking level of releases from global strategic reserves. The US is set to reach a 43-year low for its SPR by July. A large part of the US stock releases is actually going to Asia, which has seen a big shortfall from the Gulf shutdown. But the United States has its own shortages to worry about, in particular its dwindling stocks of petrol and diesel. Gas prices in the US have already risen above $4 a gallon, but if the crisis continues, exports warm up prices could rise to the even more politically sensitive $5 level. But this crisis is no longer about just expensive oil. It's becoming a crisis of physical shortages.
And we're going to hit down on that next. But this makes no sense whatsoever. This man, Donald Trump, went up there and said everything that we wanted to hear, and then turns around and does the opposite. I understand where he's coming from, okay? But you talk about political suicide. Now, I know he doesn't need to worry about it. But the fact of the matter is, the Democrats are a bunch of raised lunatics. I don't care if you're Democrat or not. You can't tell me you can sit down and justify 90% of the stupidity that they do. And then the worst part about it is we got the Republican Party who doesn't do anything. They have the opportunity right now to set so much stuff correct, to put us on a lean keel going through the old ocean. And what do? Nothing. They could make new laws right now of all the stuff that is executive orders and kind of like temporary laws, bring them into effect permanently, and really make a huge difference. The type of difference that George Washington made. The type of difference that, you know, Benjamin Franklin made. Real Americans. But no, they just sit there, bitch, piss, and moan and point fingers and blame when they have the House and the Senate, and they could easily corrupt a couple Democrats to lean onto their side and get all these bills through. That would make big differences. But here is the start, this next one. Here is the start of what we're going to see, and in approximately 2 years, based on historically what happens. Yeah.
Remember, as far from a prepping's perspective, your lubricant oils in your vehicles, there has been another, now AutoZone. It's been a couple of car companies, a couple of oil companies, and now AutoZone sent out an internal memo to all of their employees warning them that there would be shortages when it comes to lubricants on the shelf, and that, you know, things might be getting tough for a while for customers, and not to worry, that they would be, you know, giving them updates on possible substitutions. You know, you go in and your vehicle needs this specific weight of oil and it doesn't exist. What's an acceptable substitution that's not going to tear your car up, kind of thing. And so here we have one of the largest auto parts suppliers in the country, AutoZone, saying the same thing. So I'm telling you, my advice is to stock up on food, on other things, do all your preps, but you probably need to be stocking up on lubricants for your vehicles and your mechanical tools and toys that you need them for, because that's going to get hit first. And then the fuel prices are going to just keep going up, especially if this keeps getting drug out more and more.
You name it. Oils, plastics, anything that involves petroleum. Your Vaseline jelly is all whoosh, or might not exist on the shelf. We will see a time where we can't get products. It's going to make 2020 look like a baby fest. It is going to get bad, folks, and it's going to get worse. Now, if you're one of the new vehicle owners and you're required to get OW8 or OW16, which I would never run anyways, but that's a whole different video. You know, you got, well, let me just take a second here. So Toyota's saying run OW8, okay, because they got such tight tolerances. Okay. I rebuild engines myself. You can only make that tolerance so tight before it would overheat the bearings and spin the bearings, okay? There is a point for whom in which the tolerance is so tight that you will literally take the engine and seize it up. So, the OW8, the OW16, you can use 520, no problem with that. 20 weight will be around. I mean, 5W20 is something through the industry that is pretty popular. Go to the owner's manual of the product that you have. So let's say you have a Toyota Camry. Let's just keep it simple. Go to the owner's manual of a Mexican manual, because we don't have all that EPA crap in Mexico. and it'll give you in the oil chart all the different oils that you can use, okay? And I do know for a fact that in Mexico, in a 2026 Camry, you can use 5W30 in hot weather. So that's still going to be on the shelf. Might not be a lot of it. It's going to be expensive as all heck, but I'm just telling you, you got to think outside the box here, okay? Now this is and could be our future, and you're saying, oh, well, you know, Clint, you know, you're nuts. You don't know what the hell you're talking about. Really? Just in a few short months, we've seen fuel go through the roof and food go through the roof more than what it had. Everything's going through the roof. And we haven't even gotten low on oil yet. That's coming. Just give it about a month, month and a half.
Let's update you on what is happening in Cuba. There have been some rare protests that have broken out there in the capital, Havana. The island is grappling at the moment with its worst power blackouts in decades. It's been triggered by a US blockade. We saw hundreds of angry Cubans pouring onto the streets in several neighborhoods late on Wednesday. You can see them here. They're so angry about these fuel shortages. They've blocked roads. They burnt rubbish on the streets. As you can see, this marks the biggest single night of demonstrations in Havana since the energy crisis took hold in January.
You know, drop the mic on that one. And this is what else is going on right here in good old America. You keep on seeing these reports from these people who are saying, well, you know, the economy is really roaring on down the road. It's excellent. Not a problem. Nothing to see here. Really?
Food banks across the country say they are overwhelmed amid rising grocery prices. Los Angeles Regional Food Bank organizers say a recent event had to be shut down early because supplies ran out. Now organizers say they're struggling to meet the daily food demand of families.
Most recently, the federal government shut down in the fourth quarter of 2025, where we saw these large lines of cars coming through some of these mobile distributions. Most of the food we distribute goes to other organizations like food pantries and meal programs. These mobile distributions are meant to try to take some of the pressure off that agency network. And what we experienced just earlier this week was overwhelming demand.
So there you have it. The real story of what is actually happening. People have screwed themselves so badly with overconsumption. That is backed by corporations being corporate greed by the worst measure that they have ever been. Ultra low wages that just I've been spending the last few months keeping a really close eye on what local jobs are in my area, and the average is about $21 an hour. That you can't make it on that. Not with what is going on right now. So whether you've heard some of this or not, I'm here to tell you, you need to listen now, okay? You need to make some adjustments right now. Not tomorrow, not the next day, not after this storm hits. You need to stop. You need to slash non-essential spending. That extra run to the convenience store, knock it off. Going to the bar, if that's your thing, knock it off. Combined all your trips. Everything that you plan on doing, stop and actually make a list of what you're spending on a daily basis. Take out a freaking piece of paper and put down there what I am spending every day, every bill, everything line item, what specifically it is. And the stuff that does not keep a roof over your head, food in your stomach, and a paycheck coming in needs to get nixed. Stop. Keep that extra cash and put it in the bank. If you're a smoker, if there's not any more of a incentive now, Christ, they seen, I was at the convenience store after filling up. Christ, they're like $15 a pack. Holy shamoly. Start finding apps. Do your due diligence and check them out beforehand. Any type of app that's going to give you a cash back or a coupon or anything that saves you money, okay? And then just don't go and buy. So if you get food coupons and it's a Del Monte, I don't even know if they're still in business. But let's say, you know, it's a leading name brand and you've got the coupon. After you deduct that coupon off of the price, is it actually lower than the basic store brand? Then you use the coupon and, you know, buy it. If the store brand is still lower and pretty much the same quality, then throw the coupon in the garbage. Whatever you can do. Every little thing that you can do, okay? Bulk buy and meal prep. Okay. I buy Paul Mitchell shampoo, a Powie shampoo. If you go get the small bottle, it's like $33. If you buy a gallon, it's $68. A gallon of shampoo. These are the smart decisions that you need to make, okay? Remember way back in 2020 and everybody was joking about the toilet paper, you know? Toilet paper and toilet paper and any other type of consumable like that. Well, before that all hit, when I bought my current house here, I had, and coupons were actually still big at that time. So what I did is I got all the coupons that I could get, went down to our big box store, and the big box store was running sales on toilet paper, and I like Scott toilet paper, okay? I bought 5 cases of toilet paper. And now this is before the 2020 thing. It is now, how many years? I did this in 2019. How many years now? I have not had to buy any toilet paper. Now you're thinking, well, you know, you're absolutely insane. Am I? Does not everything increase in price every year? So I bought 5 cases of toilet paper, put them down into the basement, and I've got many years left of toilet paper. The point is, buy in bulk. Get the big bag. You're big on rice, don't go and buy the 20-pound bag, 30-pound bag. Go down to your Asian market and get yourself the big 100-pounder. It's gonna keep. Rice keeps for a very long time, okay? Start using your head. Fuel saving strategies. Combine all your trips. See if you can carpool. Walk. Oh my God. Walk. Years ago, I bought myself a bike. I live in a city, bought myself a bike. And I bike to the store, I bike to the post office, I bike. I don't get in my vehicle and drive there. You know, these are the things that you need to start doing now. Not an electric bike. You don't go, you know, this is the one thing that kills me. And my neighbor did this a few years back. So he's got a big pickup truck. And when gas prices were high in the Biden, you know, crime era, he bought himself one of those RAV scooters to go to work. Well, and of course, you know, he had to get the fanciest one. I think he said he spent like $2,800. So you spent $2,800 on this little scooter. Then you have to insure it, and then you have to worry about it getting ripped off. Because, you know, you can pick up one of those and carry them away, basically. You didn't save any money. You still have to insure the truck. You still have to maintain the truck. Do the smart thing, okay? Get rid of the truck and get yourself a small economy car. The guy's got a boat. That's why he's got the pickup truck. The boat is a 10-foot aluminum. You can haul that with an economy car, okay? And if you're easy on the gas pedal, you won't burn the engine out in the transmission. I'm just, you know, stop and think and use your head, okay? Build a side hustle, build a gig income, you know. Everybody says, you know, well, start a YouTube channel. Well, it's chances of you fucking making it and making any income on YouTube is almost impossible. You had to go through the 2-year waiting list before they start actually showing your videos to anybody to begin with. And if you got nothing good, or if it's the same crap everybody else is putting out, unless you got something that is completely unique of anybody else, and you're able to keep the person watching, you know, in a time and an era where people can't pay attention for any longer than 37 seconds, well, go do it. But in between that, figure out a hobby that you can sell stuff, flip stuff, another job, whatever the case may be. And if you're already saying you got 3 jobs and you can't make it, I'm just going to be blunt. You fucked up in life. Period. Sorry, but you're just that low of IQ and incapability that you have to go to 3 restaurant jobs. You might want to try getting educated and finding a real talent that pays something. Grow your own food, yeah, that's an option, and some people can do it and some people can't, okay? I'm just throwing it out there, all right? Buy used or swap instead of new, okay? I'm a big fan of Sony phones. This Sony phone came out. At that time, it was $988. I waited 2 years, and I paid $188 for a brand new one. Stuff like that. Think about it. Be patient. You can have what you want. You can live better than what your neighbors are. The old keep up with the Joneses. Just be patient, okay? Debt management. Credit cards, the highest they've ever been. It's like $1.3 trillion of debt in the United States from credit card. Stop putting shit on your credit card. Start living without. If you're having to put stuff on your credit card that you need to live every month, then once again, you need to go out and get another job. Back in the early days of the United States, when industrial and population started to build, and you've seen the movies where, you know, the families gathered around the table in New Jersey, and, you know, there's not a whole lot on the table, and there's 3 kids to feed, and the man of the house is bringing home, you know, a couple pennies a week. Yeah, he had to go out after he was done eating and do some other type of work, and charging themselves to the hilt was not even an option or something that they would do. There was pride back then. You only borrowed unless you absolutely had to, and you had a game plan to pay it back. Start with high interest credit cards first. Start paying extra on them every month and cut them in half. Stop using them. That interest is taking so much money away from your paycheck, okay? You're going to stop using your credit card, call up the damn credit card company and see what you can do. Say, hey, I'm tapped out. Can we lower interest rates? Can we lower payments? What can we do? See if they got any type of options available to you. If not, default on them. Yeah, believe it or not, I'm telling you, default on them. If they don't want to work with you, default on them. I guarantee you, they'll start fucking working with you real quick. Start looking for better opportunities, better job opportunities. Every day when you get home, go through that Indeed, go through the all the other job stuff that's online. Find something that pays more. And then when you get something that pays more, pay yourself the same and take the extra money and put it into the bank and or pay off your credit cards and debt. Okay? Build an emergency fund. Keep a cash reserve. Now, a lot of people do this and they burn through it really quickly. If you run into an emergency, how much of an emergency is it? Can that company, individual, can that bill wait? If you're already having tough times, who gives a shit if it goes to collection? Then you can negotiate with them. Or you can just tell them to PO. So I hope I brought you some, you know, sensical, straight, in-the-face information here to help you out. And you know what to do. Everybody begs on YouTube to subscribe and hit the like button and blah, blah, blah. You know what to do. We'll catch you on the next one.